Peace, everybody. I'm honored to be here to just be able to share a little bit about myself and to show up in a way where I'm able to represent for my people, with my people. And I'll just leave you all with be strategic. Be strategic, be calculated in everything that you do. Show up for yourself first, represent who you are, be authentic to you. You know, you're one of one, you offer something and contribute something to the world that no one else can, and that's your power. So be you, love you, stand in you, Ashe.
Shameeka, please tell us your personal mission, your professional mission, and any spiritual mission that you may have.
Growing up, I just always realized I had this innate ability to understand what my community needed, the voice and the stories that needed to be told, and that has fueled and inspired kind of all of my goals across the board: personal, cultural, spiritual, generational. I understand that the work that I'm seeking to carry out and fulfill is not just only about me, but the generations that have come before me that deserve and were worthy of healing and joy, and those to come after me, laying those tracks for them to experience the liberation that some of us have not been able to know.
In regards to that, I know that you've come to some challenges in your mission in the last couple of years. Would you like to speak to any of those challenges or to any of your character attributes that have helped the strength that you have to get to where you are?
In terms of challenges that I faced, this is not anything new in terms of my life experience. I honestly believe that my characteristics and attributes as to what adds to how I show up and contribute to the world was built upon the financial hardships, you know, dealing with poverty and just the everyday typical struggles that those coming from our community face. Those things allowed me to build the strength and endurance that I needed to know that there was more for myself in my community, and that if anybody was able and willing to get it done, it was me, because I understood what it felt like. I understood where those people who struggle and need their voices and stories told, I understood exactly where they came from. And so one of my most relatively recent challenges was that I didn't pass the bar the first time. I had graduated law school. That was a challenge in itself. Coming from undergraduate, where I graduated summa cum laude with a 3.8 GPA, and you know, academically I felt like it was easy for me to excel. Navigating a world, and you know, I'm gonna be careful when I say this, but navigating the devil's world as it relates to navigating law was a huge challenge for myself, and it was just a matter of pushing through and disciplining myself. But even once I got through that challenge, I was met with something else, and that was that I allowed distractions and personal things that were happening in my life take me off track. And so I didn't pass the bar the first time, and that crushed me, you know, being in a space where my stability and my livelihood solely relied on what I was able to do and accomplish. And to have been in a space where I felt like I lost, you know, my way in a sense, and it was literally up to me to make it happen. It was a matter of moving away from everything I was familiar with. It was a matter of sacrificing and fasting from a lot of things that was taking me away from my divine mission. And I came back a second time ready to fight, and I did what I needed to do, and so I'm here. And I'm grateful for that.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And
Thank
peace.
you. Thank you.
Peace. Hopefully peace comes after the storm. You know, there will always be a storm.
Yep.
but you know, we know that the light is right there on the other side.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, always got to remember that that light is there. We got to make it through the storm.
Yep.
Can't let our lives be absorbed by the rain, hail, sleet, snow, and earthquakes.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So,
that's where you build your armor to be ready for the next level. That's where you obtain your strength to be able to endure the new challenges. So with that understanding, I'm able to put my head down sometimes and realize this is just a part of the journey, you know, embrace it all.
Yeah, I can feel your, you know, your energy and your strength in regards to picking yourself up. What changes in your plan did you have to make to, you know, get through some of those personal setbacks, or you were saying distractions? Mm-hmm. You had to fast from things. You had to move away. You know, what changes did you make in that process? You know?
I had to adapt. I had to be willing to kind of ride the wave in a sense. I feel like that was one of the first challenges where I had no control, and I felt like I was being called to surrender and trust, and it was just a matter of you do your part, and the universe will you know, let everything else play out as it should. In terms of fasting and kind of removing myself from distractions, I had to get away from everything that I knew. I moved so I was living in North Carolina. I moved a few months prior to me graduating law school due to some difficult challenges I was facing there. And I had to move in with my mom, back in with my mom. That was a huge challenge, you know, being off on my own since undergraduate years. But it was a matter of knowing, okay, this is just a part of the process. It's a sacrifice that I have to make. But then I knew that certain environments weren't conducive for me locking in and studying as it related to bar prep. I was living in Northern Virginia for a little while because I had gotten a job straight out of law school. When I didn't pass the bar, they had to let me go. The position was contingent upon me passing. And that was the first time I literally was on my own and had to say, it's all gonna work out. I just gotta put my foot down and do my work, but everything else is gonna play out perfectly. And it's funny how the divine works. I was given another opportunity a month later, and a greater opportunity in terms of not only do we want to bring you in to our office, we are going to pay you a salary and allow you to study for the bar here at work. And we just want you to be here because in the end, we know that you can be a great attorney and a great addition to our team. And without a doubt, I went with it. I moved to Lynchburg, Virginia, somewhere I thought I'd never be, by myself, no family ties, no connections. And I actually met a great support system and a strong foundation of people that pushed me through. And I made it happen, so.
Wow, yep. Look at that, perseverance. Yep. I want to ask you, how do you see and feel about, you know, education and law, given what's going on at the state of, you know, this society, the civilization or, you know, uncivilization mm-hmm. with, you know, our people, original people, dealing with a lot of challenges, you know, a matter of things, and how the law is affecting that or not affecting that when it should be, and as well as the education that, you know, is being given to people that public education offers. How do you feel, and could you speak to that briefly so that we can, you know, kind of get a sense on, you know, people that would like to look at law as something that they would study, and people that, you know, are moving forward in education?
Right. Through my life experiences and just my study and understanding, when I talked about that innate understanding of what I feel like our people need to be able to lift ourselves up out of some of these conditions, is that we lack education and information. I think that is actually the foundation upon which we can build. We've been miseducated and misinformed, by design, to keep us crippled, to keep us blind to the agendas that have been placed upon our communities. And so as it relates to just education in general, I find it extremely important, but not just education, our own education, educating our own children, our own youth, teaching them not only about history, but their self, and who they are and how they contribute to society and our community's mission. And then from there, you learn and gain information. I think as it relates to law, because I was given that foundation, that knowledge of self, that information in the home to know who I am, it allowed me to navigate areas like the field of law, to learn the devil's mind, but to stay firm in who I am, to remain grounded in my truth.
It helped you use your wisdom in a profound way.
Correct. And I think as it relates to law and policy, that brings you into the mind of how our oppressors and our enemy thinks. That allows us to understand how we can build our own. And also how we can combat the current challenges and conditions that are placed against us. So I find it vitally important, actually, especially those who see themselves being passionate enough to study it and give it the energy that it deserves. But I think that's where that comes into play.
Excellent. So education, miseducation, and education, so that we can be equipped, so that we can kind of gear up. You got to gear up.
Yep.
And be serious. Sounds like you're saying be serious about education, and that your foundation, being given knowledge of self, not being misled.
Right.
And that giving you an understanding to navigate policy and law as you're going through your studies.
Correct.
Excellent. Excellent. What makes you happy about the work that you're entering into at this stage of your life, right? Mm-hmm. And what makes you motivated about the work that you have planned to do in the next 2 years?
So I think what makes me happy and what at least brings me the bit of joy that I can have as it relates to the work that I do, because I notice on a day-to-day basis I'm witnessing very traumatic situations.
Right.
But the thing that brings me the most joy, to the extent that it can, is realizing the impact that I'm having on someone's life, holistically. It's these small challenges that the system places in front of us, these hurdles that indirectly affects or directly affects everything else that we have going on in our lives. And for me to kind of be that voice, I have I've only been practicing for about a month now, but I've had so many clients who, regardless of the outcome and the result, whether favorable or not favorable, were grateful for someone to speak up and fight for them, especially given how the system kind of puts everybody on this conveyor belt.
Right.
And makes them feel just like a number, in a line. For me to be able to sit down and allow somebody to feel seen and feel heard, brings me the most joy. And it's not about the wins or the losses, but it's those affirmations from my clients that remind me, this is why I do this work. This is what brings me joy. This is what fills me up. Nothing else. And then as it relates to, I think your question is what motivates me for my future work.
Yeah, what's going to happen tomorrow and what motivates you for your plan. You have a very strong divine plan.
Right.
What's motivating you, you know, tomorrow and then from now to the summer solstice 2024?
I think what's motivating me is kind of what I talked about before, is knowing that this mission isn't just about myself. I want my children's children to experience true liberation and happiness and peace and joy. And whether that's just a matter of me sacrificing my physical experience to lay one track, to lay one brick, you know, day by day, to build that masterpiece, that brick wall, to lay out that liberation and freedom for them. That's what keeps me going every day. So.
Okay.
And then tomorrow, I'll be sworn in as an attorney in the Supreme Court. And so that allows me the legal authority to practice in any jurisdiction within the state of Virginia.
Okay. So you'll be able to sit anywhere in Virginia?
Correct. After tomorrow.
Okay. And so right now, can you tell me again, because you said it in the intro, you're in Lynchburg, right?
Yes.
So
I'm a court-appointed attorney. I'm a public defender. But we do criminal defense work.
Okay.
Yep.
So you deal with the criminal defense work.
So when, you know, well, if you've ever had the experience of going to court and the judge asks you, what would you like to do about an attorney? You can hire one, the court can appoint one.
Right.
I'm that court-appointed when what they call indigent clients, people who are of less fortunate circumstances, don't have the money.
And how long will you do that?
I haven't decided. I just know that it's a great starting point, because that's where you get, in terms of, I want to do criminal defense work long term, but in terms of getting the most exposure to different types of cases, felonies, misdemeanors, juvenile cases and things like that, that's the greatest place to kind of get started, because you see a bunch of different things every day.
Okay.
So yeah, that's.
And your long-term goal in law is what?
I want to have my own practice. I want to start my own all-black firm.
You will have your own practice?
I will have my own practice. And I want to start my own all-black firm and serve my community.
And where would that be based?
I haven't decided, but I know my reasoning for coming back to Virginia was that I wanted to give back to my community first. So I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I decided not to take the North Carolina bar or any other jurisdiction. I wanted specifically Virginia because that's where I can serve my people and my family.
Wow. So I would like to ask you to poke your chest out to... Sure. No, I mean to, you know, really, I see the humility within you. You know, I've always seen the humility within you. You have a good aura.
Thank you.
So, you know, hopefully with all of your work and, you know, your travels and your dedication, you know, you get a little bit of time to poke your chest out, and, you know, I know your mother and your family is going to love on you, but, you know, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Rise Up, Zoo World Media, the Richmond Kwanzaa Collective, the Nation of Gods and Earths, the Oncobia Society, many other organizations, African Center, you know, black organizations, professional organizations that Rise Up are aligned with or we've worked with in the community will see this. And so on behalf of the community at large, on behalf of your people at large, on behalf of the youth, I'm a youth educator. You know, I've worn many hats. I've taught the youth for over 13, 14 years. Awesome. You know, we're happy that you're here.
Thank you. I'm honored, honestly. I'm humbled by these moments.
And we look forward to you opening the door for others to come after you.
And I look forward to it. I look forward to it.